we shared a passion for this sense of justice and putting people into the plan and addressing inequality in some way. So connecting sustainability and the social value as well. And finally, we did really want to do something with bikes. When I was in high school, I really wanted to get rich. I worked at McDonald's, I saved my money, and I invested in the stock market. And if you asked me when I was like 15 or 16 what I would want to do when I grew up, I would have said, I want to be one of these guys, stock trader. That all changed for me. I grew up also in a suburb in Kamloops, and we were surrounded by these beautiful ponderosa pine forests and grasslands. And kind of when I was in grade 12, a lot of those beautiful trees with long needles and this beautiful bark that you can kind of pick off like puzzle pieces, those trees started turning brown and yellow and dying, and the reason they were dying was because of pine beetle infestation, and the reason that was happening was because of climate change. So that startled me, and that caused a shift in my thinking, and I started to question whether getting rich was what life was all about, and I saw that there was this problem. I started reading books about it, and a problem that wasn't really being solved. And I got quite worried and scared, but also quite passionate about doing something about it. So I moved to Vancouver, and I came to university at SFU. I got connected with a lot of other young people that shared a passion through a program called Sustainable Community Development, and got quite involved with activism. So took on different projects and worked with a local company called Climate Smart to help companies measure and reduce their emissions, and ended up with an opportunity to travel to Copenhagen for the UN Climate Summit in 2009. And it was at that summit, sort of spending a lot of time marching in the streets, feeling a lot of frustration, ultimately getting quite disappointed with the result. But at that summit, I connected with this idea that actually climate change and this issue of sustainability that we're facing is very much also an issue of social justice, an issue about inequality, because the countries in the north were blocking progress, and although they'd caused these problems, they weren't. It was the countries in the south that were really looking for the solutions and that are going to suffer the most out of this, most of the consequence. And so I gained a value for inequality and social justice. I came back to school the next year, 1 year left in my studies, and in that Sustainable Community Development program, took a course in social enterprise where our task was to write a business plan for a social enterprise. So I got together with friends. On the left, that's me, Robin, and Loretta, and we connected. We decided we're going to do a group together, maybe something about bikes. And we're going to take this project pretty seriously, have fun while we do it, and get together every week for beers at the Legion and talk about our ideas. So we start off that process, and we're connecting. We're saying, well, you know, what do we want? What do we want to see in the world? Well, we obviously want to address sustainability somewhere in our plan, and this greenest city thing that's happening in Vancouver is pretty cool. And it wouldn't it be awesome to do something kind of in an urban context that connects and moves that forward as well? We shared a passion for this sense of justice and putting people into the plan and addressing inequality in some way. So connecting sustainability and the social value as well. And finally, we did really want to do something with bikes. So what we talked through and what we came up with was a plan to launch a social enterprise in Vancouver using big tricycles to make deliveries in the downtown core. So that's one of our first trikes there that we're all sitting in, and that's the first 5 members. So we reached out to beyond just the initial group, and when that class was over, decided to make this plan happen. What we do is we partner with companies in the downtown Vancouver area, and we make deliveries into the core, replacing their truck trips with our heavy-duty cargo trikes. The trikes carry about 300 pounds of goods. We use the bike lanes, we park on the sidewalks, so we have a core competitive advantage to our business. And we've built partnerships with over 10 companies now, delivered over 32,000 packages in the downtown core, replaced 25,000 truck kilometers, and 20,000 kilograms of CO2, and that's all since August 2011, so we've been operating for 2 years. But what I'd like to talk more about is how we've done that and how we've organized ourselves and the way that that has represented our values. So we said that we wanted to do something that would address social inequality and create green jobs that were meaningful and empowering for young people in the new economy. And the way that we set out to do that was to structure ourselves as a worker co-op. What that means is that we share the risk in the enterprise and we share the profits whenever they may come. In essence, we are not the founders and the only owners of the enterprise. We've opened that up. So when we launched, we said, you're founders too. When we, as we've grown, every employee that we take on actually has an opportunity to share in ownership of the business. And when we do reach break even, which should be next year, and when we do have profits to distribute, they will be distributed also fairly on the basis of hours worked. So doing something quite a bit different, but that's our way that we looked at running a business that would connect with that value. And there's been huge benefits to doing things that way. This process of opening things up, bringing new people in early on, brought on this huge sense of ownership and this shared sense of dedication to the project that we couldn't have seen otherwise. The founders, this larger founding team and the people that started very early on are with us today and have contributed a lot of the most meaningful work over the past couple of years as we've moved through a lot of very challenging ups and downs in operating and growing the business. And essentially we found that the collaboration brought this huge amount of energy and this injection of shared responsibility at the start, which was super valuable and allowed us to accomplish so much more than we could have otherwise. As we've gone through the dips, it's made us much more resilient, and we've been able to rely on each other to have each other's back and to hold shift as various challenges have come up. The other side of the equality piece that we wanted to hit on is living wages. So in the green economy, looking out at the world, and as we were graduating from university, there's been a shift in the economy where there's fewer unionized jobs, there's more service sector work, and that service sector work rarely pays living wages. So we wanted to find a way to do that. We haven't yet, because of the realities of where we're at very early in the business, but it's built into the financial model moving forward that as we grow, as we get our profitability up, that's where some of that profit will be allocated. And it's, on the other hand, what we have noticed is that despite not paying those wages when we're hiring, the folks, still young people, are coming to us very interested, very engaged, and they get it. They see that there are problems in the world. They want to be a part of the solutions. They see how both the co-op side and the sustainability side of what we're doing are connected to those solutions, and they're excited to learn just like we were when we got, and we still are today. So while that part hasn't come through, the side that has is that shared opportunity, which is coming through the collaboration in the model. And the other element, which has been amazing and absolutely integral to what we're doing, is the way that the community has really had our back throughout the whole process. We also launched this business with very little savings of our own. We have each invested $5,000, but we've needed vastly more than that in financial resources. And the city, Van City Credit Union, have stepped in a big way with mostly grant financing support. Virtually every institution in the city has come in to support us in some way. BCIT, SFU, UBC, Coast Capital Savings as well with an innovation space. We're moving into Radius Accelerator program right now as well. Basically every time we've needed to be connected with a resource to make this happen, there has been someone or some organization or some program out there in the social enterprise ecosystem in Vancouver to give us that support that we need. And we couldn't have done it or gotten it to where it is today without that. And so what's in it for us? We have started this business, we've put our sweat and tears into it. We're not gonna get rich from it because the wealth is shared, and at most we may see a check for a few $1,000s in a few years. And so what's in it for us? Basically, we've been able to get a business education by doing this. We were all coming from an arts program. we've launched, we wrote a business plan, we've got it financed, we're operating the business, we're all collectively learning all the skills that we need to do that. It's been hugely valuable for us. We've expanded our networks, and we've been able to put something in practice that we believed in. So there's been huge value there, and then we look at it and say, well, is it, like, it's still pretty small, is it really that impactful? Like, maybe, yeah, there's been a humbling experience in it as well to see how much work it has taken to do this, and yet the result so far is like 4 tricycles. And so what we take from that is the value in the education, the value in the community that we're sharing and the time we're sharing together, and really the importance of stepping up and doing something, and the fact that we've been able to move something forward, even on this small scale, has been hugely valuable and added so much to our lives. So thank you.